welcome to this new episode of the India InsurTech podcast. Today we have with us Kamal. Kamal's the co-founder and CEO of AutoWiz, which is an InsurTech that has operations globally. But Kamal, I'd love for you to take a stab at giving us your introduction.
Sure. Thanks, Prashant, for having me here. Quick introduction. I'm co-founder of AutoWiz. In context of insurance, specifically, we are the creators of a product called Auto Beacon, which is a smartphone telematics solution for insurers. But broadly, as a company, we focus on automotive, mobility, related AI and data analytics, especially related to connected vehicle data analytics. And we work with auto OEMs, insurers, other corporates, and other mobility ecosystem players with our solutions, which are primarily dealing with AI and data analytics based use cases on connected vehicle data.
Got it. Got it. Can you take us through what's the value you're bringing to your partners and what is the impact you're driving for them?
Yeah, of course, different segments have different requirements, but our primary, I would say, value is uh, creating insights from this huge amount of data being created all the time, right? So if you're driving a vehicle or let's say a car or a two-wheeler, through connected vehicle devices or through smartphones, we're generating a lot of information about how we are driving, where we are driving, about our vehicle, and so on. And while the data is being collected, I think most of the players around the mobility ecosystem have not leveraged the data to provide the value back to, let's say, the car owner, vehicle owner, or the driver, or even the enterprises. So that's where we try to add value by creating those monetizable, relevant use cases for both individuals and enterprises, but around this, connected vehicle data.
Understood.
So more specifically, like in insurance context, we are using the data around driving behavior and how you're driving, where you're driving, how much you're driving, to help insurers better understand the risk profile and for individuals themselves to basically understand how they could drive in a safer manner. So that's the two-sided value I would say we bring.
Okay. And the way you're collecting this data is there a device one has to install in their vehicle? Is it through smartphone? What's the mode of collection
Yeah.
of the data?
Yeah, our journey has evolved, and when we started out, we were mostly focusing on device-based telematics. So you essentially put in a device to as an aftermarket devices or leverage OEM fitted device to collect data, which is the connected vehicle data. Now that of course is useful when you're trying to understand the holistic picture about the vehicle and its health and so on and so forth. But what we realized is for mass market applications, especially around insurance, we need to get rid of the device. I mean, in a country like India, we have like a billion people having smartphones, but very small portion having connected vehicles, right? So we kind of now focusing the last few years on purely smartphone-based telematics, especially for the insurance ecosystem, where you don't need a device in the vehicle, but you're relying on the cooperation of the driver by them allowing us to collect some information about their driving behavior through the smartphone
Mm.
sensors, which are there on all common smartphones, whether it's Android or iOS.
Okay. Kamal, we've been, hearing this conversation about telematics and motor insurance and the insights that they can unlock or uncover for insurers and about the driver, right? But what I'm curious to know about from your perspective is, what's the adoption like across, the globe? And because you're working in the
Yeah.
Western space and in the Indian space, I'm curious to know what your learnings are.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's been around for a long time, especially in the developed markets or the Western markets. I mean, way back in 90s is when progressives and some of the other insurers started using telematics. It has gone through its ups and downs, even in the developed markets, I would say. But I would say the last few years, both on the commercial line as well as on the personal lines. I think there is a definite focus on using telematics for risk scoring, for better segmentation, for more fairer pricing. Now, again, there is a huge headroom even in the global markets, even in markets like US or Europe, in terms of growth. I would say the adoption on personal lines may still be 10%, 15%, depending upon geography. It could vary, but we're still seeing that. But if you pick up any of these developed countries and you see the top insurers, most of them do have telematics programs which give options to users to opt in and based upon the driving behavior earn some discounts and of course get understanding on how they could drive safely. Now, of course, coming to India, we are, I think, there have been, I think, discussions and pilots around telematics. I mean, we've been around for some time and working with insurers as well, initially doing pilots using device-based telematics I mentioned about. And but last few years, the conversation has definitely shifted towards smartphone telematics. Regulatory environment over the last few years has also been more supportive around pay how you drive and pay as you drive policies. So I think we're still in very early days as far as India is concerned. But my conversation with insurers, there's definitely rising interest, and we are seeing offerings coming into play. They started with pay as you drive products, but again, the last, I would say, 12 months or 18 months, the conversations are shifting towards pay how you drive, where you're essentially trying to uh, understand the driving behavior, not just how much you drive, but actually how you drive. Is it risky, and score the drivers, and more importantly, try to prevent accidents by you know giving early insights on how they could drive in a safer manner, which I feel is from a long-term
Yeah.
trajectory is the right thing for Indian market, where we really need to start preventing accidents and use
Mm.
telematics as a tool for doing that.
Listen, okay. Take us through one of the use cases that you're doing, that you're working with an insurer across wherever you'd like to, whichever
Sure.
example you'd like to take. How are insurers sort of meaningfully, sort of having data across, whatever they get from the telematics? How are they using
Yes.
it for risk assessment, for
Mm.
pricing their product, perhaps engaging with the customer without making the experience feel like it's non-intuitive?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And actually, these are all the things which combine together. So we're working with an insurer who is using exactly in the same manner. So they're using a smartphone telematics product or auto beacon product. And what they do is like they embed our technology inside their loyalty app. So from an end customer's perspective,
Okay.
it's a seamless experience. They can just switch on that inside the insurer's app. So one of the first things is, of course, transparency around why this data is being collected. Am I being tracked? Those are the questions which consumer needs to understand, right? So it starts from there that we clarify to user what data is being collected, what is the purpose, and what's the value which is going to come back to the policy holder if they agree to share this data. Then comes the part where we start using the data to coach drivers on how they're driving. So it's very transparent in terms of how we score them, which areas they could improve to improve their score. And on the insurer side, then start using this data to segment the risk profiles. It has been proven that telematics data provides an additional dimension on understanding risk beyond the traditional measures. It helps you stratify your segments better. So that's what insurers use this for. And of course, engagement, right? That's the bigger piece, is in fact, to I would say bigger even than pricing to start with, because insurance is like motor insurance is a once in a year interaction right
Yeah.
now. And this just changes the equation in terms of having so many touch points weekly, monthly, and you can do a lot of engagement, gamification, rewards, mini rewards around it. So
Mm.
customer sees you as a partner in their accident prevention journey. I
Mm.
feel that's probably the biggest use case in India to start with, even before pricing. Over a few years, once insurers have enough data to correlate better the telematic scores with the claims data, I think the confidence on pricing will grow. Of course, there has to be a little bit of a pricing benefit for fair drivers to start with. but more, I think, evidence-driven pricing will happen in a few years once we have this data, which actuarial teams are comfortable to see that yes, safer drivers are indeed resulting in lower claims.
Okay. Okay. As I understand, in the West, this is fairly accepted concept and a proposition.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how your experience is interacting with insurers in India, and what, are you live with someone in the sense, are you already have taken this market, taken this to
Yes.
market with
Yes.
anyone?
Yes, so in India we have, I can share one name like Zuno. They are Zuno General Insurance. They are a pioneer in smartphone telematics. They're the first who offer pure smartphone based PHYD product, and I think it's very interesting the ways they have gone about this, using this tool in a very strategic manner, to offer a new product and also increase engagement, offer coaching and gamification. So they're trying all these things, and so I think we see that from multiple insurers now, and there are obviously looking at Indian market. I think there are different ways in which insurers can approach this. It need not be the same approach for everyone. Like some insurers may want to start by just using this product as a way to even attract new customers by offering try before you buy kind of an experience where for a
Mm.
30 days you can take a driving challenge, use the app, get a score, and maybe you can get a discount at renewal. You don't need to necessarily have
Yeah.
a full PHYD product, right? So it can become a tool for attracting the right segment of customers as well, not just for your existing policyholders. So we see that for some of the larger incumbent insurers may be taking that route first because they don't want to, immediately roll it out for their existing client base. So we'll see that different models will evolve on how Indian insurers use it, but definitely it's interesting. The adoption is starting to happen. I think in the US market specifically, uh, as I said, it's a little bit more mature. I think people have a more solidified view on how they want to do it. But my sense is the gap we see in US and many other markets is, again, there's too much focus on using this product for scoring and pricing, which is fine because US markets, the premiums are quite high, so pricing itself is the biggest value. But they are not doing that much on engagement and behavioral, intelligence and things like that, which I think we should do more in India because, as I said, the main role of this should be to coach drivers, prevent accidents, and give them those insights which they can use, right? So
Yeah.
that's where at least our focus in India market has been always to first use it to prevent accidents, and then of course, second is to for risk profiling.
Yeah. Yeah. What are bottlenecks you're facing with insurers in India, or what are the objections, the challenges you're facing right now?
Yeah, of course, India market we all know is very competitive for insurers, right? And motor insurers specifically,
Yeah.
uh, the premiums are very competitive. So first question, which obviously comes up, is where is the ROI if I bring in this type of a product, which might further reduce the premiums for good drivers? Do we have scope for that? And we definitely don't have scope to penalize not so good drivers because those will immediately move away to a competing insurer, right? So that's a challenge which is right there front and center in the Indian market. And the way we try to address it is, as I mentioned, use it as a long-term play. First of all, like to see that this will eventually, over a period of
Mm.
time, reduce accidents and reduce claims, and therefore have a book of customers which are more profitable over a term
Yeah.
by self-selecting customers who are safer. But that's a long-term play, right? And so in the short to mid-term, before those advantages, long-term advantages come into play, one has to use it as a tool for engagement, for differentiation, and as I mentioned, even for attracting customers through try before you buy models and things like that, right?
Mm.
So that's the biggest challenge, I would say, uh, given that we have so much less scope for technology, uh, cost of ownership, because of the, so stringent pricing and high competition.
All right. Okay. With the advent of AI now, of course, goes without say that I have to ask a question on how
Mhm.
you're going to leverage AI, how you see stuff in your
Yeah,
segment evolving. Apart from the fact that you use it for data analytics and so on and so forth for making your
yeah.
operations efficient. But I'd like to
Mhm.
know how you see the mobility and this mobility AI as a space, telematics,
Yes,
all of these
yes,
as a combination. How do you see this evolving
yes.
and converging?
Yeah, yeah. I think, of course, AI is touching everybody. We try to use it. I mean, our product per se relies upon pretty sophisticated data analytics algorithms because we are working on sensor data. We don't
Yeah.
get direct vehicle data, and to transform that sensor data into, credible signals around driving behavior itself is a, data
Yeah.
science slash ML AI problem which we have worked on. But apart from that, I think a lot of newer applications we're seeing around AI in our space, I would say in one is hyper personalization, right? So we talk about engaging with the customers with their data through insights, through tutorials, through gamification like leaderboards and so on. I think AI is quite useful in personalizing that message for each individual, right? I want to, like a Fitbit for my driving, I want to understand about my driving,
Yeah.
but may want in a certain manner, while somebody else may want in a certain manner at a different time of the day and things like that. So we're trying to use AI to really hyper personalize that experience to
Mm.
understand what nudge works for which customer at what point of time, right? And they act on
Mm.
it. So that's one area we're using. We call it behavioral intelligence. I think even with car owners, we are seeing this as a good way where they want to differentiate the car ownership experience by providing more personalized insights when you're driving a car or driving a two-wheeler. And that's where AI can definitely be used to understand the context of each customer and give them some relevant insights based upon their context, right? Not some
Yeah.
generic. So that's definitely there. I would say is the top use case for us.
Okay. So this was amazing, Kamal. We had a great time chatting with you. Thanks a lot for this. If you
Absolutely.
have any last parting thoughts, we'd love to take them and then close the podcast.
No, absolutely, Prashant. Thanks for having us, and great to be part of the community to share this. And telematics, and especially smartphone telematics, is, I would say, one space to watch out for. We will see. I can assure we'll see lot more action from multiple insurers in the next 12 months with newer products hitting the market with interesting business models. So I think some interesting uh, times are ahead of us in this space.
Thanks, Stan. We are cheering for you, Kamal, and we look forward to seeing more and more from you over time.
Thank you.
Thank you.